You can grow a Three Sisters garden in a raised bed. Let me show you exactly how I did it from start to finish. I'll tell you what varieties to use, when to plant, and how to be successful. And you can harvest corn, beans, and squash from one raised bed. Gardening isn't always easy. If you want more tips like this, like, subscribe, and stick around. I'm Angela from Growing in the Garden. My garden's in Mesa, Arizona. I want to help you succeed, even if you're gardening in tough conditions. The Three Sisters are one of the oldest companion planting methods. Corn gives beans something to climb, beans help fix nitrogen in the soil, and squash vines act like a living mulch. Traditionally, they're planted in mounds, but I wanted to see if I could make it work in raised beds using square foot gardening. I planted 3 of my 4x8 beds using this layout. 2 rows of corn right down the middle and 1 pole bean next to each corn. And then on the sides, 2 squash plants on either side. If you're giving it a try, here's when to plant. Plant corn once the danger of frost has passed and soil temps reach at least 55 degrees. Plant pole beans around the corn once it's 6 to 12 inches tall. Squash goes in next about 2 weeks after the beans. That gives the corn and beans a head start. In the low desert, there's 2 main planting windows. Spring from mid-February to March, and again during monsoon season, July through August. I direct seeded rainbow corn right after our last frost date, but the soil was too cold and they didn't germinate. So I started over with corn transplants and they took off. Although I think some of the rainbow corn must have sprouted too, because I had a couple of cross-pollinated ears. During monsoon planting, when the soil is already warm, direct seeding is probably a better option. Here are the varieties I used: Silver Queen corn, Rattlesnake and Kentucky Wonder pole beans, Black Beauty summer squash, and Waltham butternut. That was the plan: Silver Queen corn, 2 types of pole beans, and a mix of summer and winter squash. Once everything started growing, I wasn't sure what to expect. And when I posted about it, let's just say the internet had opinions. Some people cheered me on, others said it wouldn't work, that the Three Sisters method is just a garden myth. Well, I'm here to say it actually worked. Was it perfect? No. But I harvested plenty of squash, beans, and corn. Real food from a small space. So myth or not, I'll take it. The beans and squash did their job. The squash shaded the soil, the beans climbed the corn and helped support the stalks, even in windy conditions. In the past, when I've grown corn, the stalks always flopped over. I'd end up staking every one of those stems. And pollination, it wasn't great either. Some ears barely filled out. This time, most of the stalks stayed upright, thanks in part to those beans climbing up them. I only had to stake a few, and pollination, better than I expected. I was out of town when most of the stalks were tasseling, so I couldn't hand pollinate. A few ears had spotty pollination, but most pollinated very well. Corn's a heavy feeder. I don't usually use a lot of fertilizer, but with corn, I made an exception. I fed it twice during the season using AgroThrive, a liquid organic fertilizer that's easy to apply and works really well. One thing I was really happy about: no cornworms. I've had trouble with them in the past, but not this time. I did spot quite a few ladybugs in the garden, which may have helped keep things in check. I noticed whiteflies on the beans, but they didn't seem to slow production. I didn't treat, I just kept an eye on things. Next time, I might wait a little longer to plant the beans. They reached the top of the corn fast, and in a couple of cases, wrapped all around the tassels. There were also a couple of spots where the beans wrapped around the corn cob, preventing it from fully growing. Growing a Three Sisters garden in raised beds was a huge success. And honestly, it surprised me. I've tried growing corn before and struggled with pollination and keeping the stalks upright. This time, it all came together. If you're curious, give it a try. Every garden and every gardener is different. Try things out, adjust as needed, and see what works in your space and climate. But overall, the three sisters in raised beds were a huge win. You can find the full blog post with more tips and planting details at the link below. And if you've grown a Three Sisters garden, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. You can, I'll tell, keep going? Start over. Okay, sorry. Okay, yeah, all right. Okay, was that too rambly?